Hey everyone, so I got the new Blade FPV Manta FPV race wing. I'm gonna open this up and put it together. This is just a super quick run through of what's in the box. I'll do a quick opening the box here and take some video notes along the way. I'm not gonna put so much that much effort in making the editing super nice, just so some real small tips here and there while this racing wing comes together. So hope you enjoy. So here's what's inside the box. Got the manual, got a bunch of stickers. Just look at that. So a lot of options. Yeah, let's see, we got some rods, and they are carbon fiber. You got the main body of the wing right here, and motor's not attached. Looks like you have to screw that in. Then you got wings, two. And you got wingtips, it looks like it. Yeah, wingtips. Oops, sorry. So you got wingtips, which looks definitely like it's gonna get glued. Anyways, I've been doing wings. My background actually is flying combat wings, so definitely there's gonna be some gluing when you put this together. Got some props, some hardware, the links, the motor parts, Velcro, some more stickers, Immersion RC stickers, and a battery strap. Okay, so that's what's in the box. We'll get to putting this thing together. So before I started the build, I was going through the parts and kind of laying this out on the table. And so this is what it looks like. And it looks like you can build the wing, and I haven't looked at the manual. All right, so this is just using my experience on building planes for such a long time. But there's two ways to build it. Looks like you could do it with a swept wing, or you could just do an end like this. So I will opt to do it with a swept. Usually gives it the airplane a little bit more stability. And then what I also notice is, I tend to do this with all of the planes that I built, is I started working on the control surfaces. Now, what I noticed for this, so obviously it's just a scored foam to give you that movement for the aileron. It's very stiff. Also, my experience of doing high-speed planes or high-speed gliders, I would probably want to have this to be more free. So what I'll do with this is I'll end up cutting the entire foam aileron off and just using hinge tape. So you guys can definitely look at YouTube how to hinge tape a wing. It definitely gives you a much better movement, or less restrictions the way this foam is. I'm sure you can work this where it's going to be better. If you do and you get it where it's nice and smooth, I would still suggest you put some hinge tape on it, just because 90 miles an hour, or if you modify it and you start going over 100 miles an hour, these pieces take a lot of abuse in the air. So I tend to make sure that there's always hinge tape. And then also I'm very I'd say I put a lot of detail. I can't get the focus on that. Put a lot of detail on the horn. So here it looks like, I'm not sure if it's glued. It looks like there's a snap on the other back, but I would put a lot of epoxy in this just to be sure, right? So like I said, 90 miles an hour, and then quick turns, quick banks. This will be the one that's taking all the force. So hinge tape across, and then put a ton of epoxy or glue on this aileron horn. Okay, just to add, I did mention that I was gonna hinge tape this, but this is a better way to show you guys. I mean, I've been working this surface a little bit more, so you get more movement out of it. It's like I said earlier, it's fairly stiff. But if you look at this from this angle, you can see that, you know, it is still pretty stiff. It's not, you're not getting a full, like the entire aileron is not getting full deflection, because the score is still pretty thick, and I can see that being done so it doesn't come off in flight with all the speeds, but hinge tape will fix that. So with this, for sure I'm just gonna cut the aileron off and hinge tape it. Right, quick update on this wing. So here it is, with hinge tape installed on it. I put, you know, some here, double the edges just because it gets quite a bit of force there. And what I do is, I'm sure you get, like I said, you can see and watch on YouTube how you do your hinge tape, but I opened it up like this, you know, lay the tape in like that, so make sure it goes in the seam, so it lets it, you know, have that extra slack to bend. I did the same thing on top. You bend it, you put the tape on, and after I did that, I actually ran a blade, you know, right in between the seam. So some of them, basically, I scored the thin area even more, top and bottom. Right, it's still attached, but now, as you can see, it is nice and free now. Everything's moving up and down as a whole, rather than earlier when I showed it was actually just bending that aileron surface. So everything's nice and smooth. So next is I'm gonna do it on the other wing, and then when I start using glue, you know, like I mentioned earlier, is I'm gonna put quite a bit of glue on this horn. Quick build note here. The manual starts by telling you to install the motor, so I've done that. So it comes with 4 screws, and there's washers for each screw that goes in there. There is a metal nut that's inside the motor, the wood that's mounted on the plane. So make sure you put Loctite on these small bolts. So when it goes in, it goes into a metal nut that's inside the wood. And when you tighten them, go across different alternating star pattern, just so the motor plate goes in nice and straight. So I finished gluing the wings, so this is my next checkpoint. Just want to show what's done so far. So I've glued the wings together. You know, the spar runs in the middle. Epoxy, I just used 15-minute epoxy. Both sides. I also glued the curved wingtips, both sides. And just a note: make sure you don't get any glue between here and between here, so that doesn't affect that. And also the horns, like I mentioned earlier, put a bunch of epoxy on that. Both sides, actually, even underneath. So I put a lot of epoxy on there. So if you look at, I was describing earlier in the video, now since I ran a blade through that hinge, now it's nice and smooth, both sides, you know. And here's the hinge tapes, keep that from going anywhere. What other note? Oh, this is a carbon fiber insert on the leading edge. You just shove it in there after everything's together. And then I ran a bead of really thin CA that's foam safe right along the carbon fiber spar, so that's in there. So this is pretty much done. The next one, the next thing that the manual states is install like a support for the antenna, which goes underneath, and then the horns, and it should be ready, and the props, of course, and stickers, and it should be ready to go. Okay, so here is the fully assembled Blade Manta FPV. So I wrapped it up. The only thing I did from the last time I updated was add the horns, add the prop, and that's about it. And then put the stickers on, and then this little support for the antenna. Pretty straightforward. Stickers are pretty good quality. They come with so many options. Quite a bit of, you could be as creative as you can be. I just decided to slap it on. However, here's the bottom. But that's about it. I will have, I'll be using a 4S 1800 pack here. Battery will go here, and bind it to my Spectrum radio, and it is good to go.